Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. So, employee management application. So this is very common scenario whenever we are appearing for the machine test. Once you are done with your theoretical part of the interview process, next task, like they will ask you to complete a machine test. Sometimes they will ask you to perform any task, a CRUD application or some third-party API integration or third-party library integration. They will ask you. So most of the cases they will ask you the CRUD operation. 90% time or 80% time it is just a CRUD application. Again, if you are fresher, this is the right project for you where you will be able to do the CRUD operation, login and everything. Okay. So whenever we talk about employee management application, what in this application, what things we mainly need? So first login module will be there. Just a static login page will be there. After that dashboard. So dashboard we will discuss at the end. So first employee portal. So employee portal will have the responsibility to do the CRUD operation of employee means whoever is using this application will be able to create the employee, edit, update, and he can show the list of all the employee also. Employee is created. Then if we talk about employee application, so obviously any particular company or any office is going to use it. So let's talk about software company. So employees are there. Then we will have obviously we will have the project. So a second module is the project portal. So here we will create multiple projects going on in our project in our company. So that is about project portal. Then third portal will be project employee means we have created project, but in which project which employee is working, correct? So that also we need to map. So this is this is that module. Then lastly dashboard. So dashboard is where we will show all the information of all the modules. Like if you can see, this is the UI which we are going to use. So total employees we will show, total projects, active employees, recently hired employees, latest project. So just a kind of statistical information we will show over here. Now UI I have already created. So if you are new, so I don't design the UI in this project video because it takes so much time. So UI I have already created, and that too I have already pushed to my repository also. So repository which you have to use it, YouTube project template. Inside that, let me just showcase you that also. Inside that, employee management is the folder, and all the 4 HTML file you can find it over here. So you can directly copy paste. The main focus is like Angular thing, what we need to learn. Fine. Then this is the index page. So here employee CRUD operation UI will be there. Then project page is there. Then finally project employee. Now API. So obviously it's a real project. So we have to make use of the API. So project API.jirasim.in. Here you can find the API. So this is the API, and inside that, let me just get it to the. So you can see employee management. Inside that, you will able to see all the APIs which we are going to use. So many APIs are there which we are going to use. Fine. Again, what is there? Yeah, that's it. So we are going to build this project with Angular 18. So some prerequisites I have already created. Let me just open another notepad file. So to create the new project, you just need to run this command ng new project name. Then after that, I'm using Bootstrap. You can use Material or Tailwind also, whatever you prefer. For font awesome, I'm using for icons, I'm using font awesome. So I have created the project. So this is the empty project which you can see. Inside package.json, I have installed Bootstrap and font awesome. So once you install this, this is the command. Okay. Then once you install the Bootstrap and font awesome, you need to add that to our angular.json also. So over here in style section, you need to add it like this. So this is just the initial thing I have done. Apart from that, it is just an empty project. Fine. Now let me run the project. Now one more thing, just remember, if you are going to use my API, you need to run your project on 4209 port. So by default, our application run on 4200, but you need to change it. So how do we do that? Ng sub hyphen port 4209. On this port, you need to run. So once I can enter this, my application will run on particular port number, whatever I specified. Let's just wait for a couple of times. See, now let's try to access it. Localhost 4209. Fine. So you can see we are able to see that default page. Correct. Now, inside this, we have this app component. So this was the content which was visible. Let's remove everything. Now in that, we will just have a router outlet. Now let's discuss the component. So as we discussed, like these are the various modules. Now how many components we are going to need? So it's an admin application. So whenever we talk about admin application, we will have login page. Then we will need a layout page. Layout page will be responsible to store a navbar. So in this component, we will have a navbar. Then we are going to need a dashboard component. Then employee project and the project employee. So let's create the component. Now in app folder, what we need to do, we can create a folder that we will name it as pages. Now in pages folder, we have to create the component. So right click and open in new terminal. So new terminal will open. Now here ng generate component. Either you can write complete generate and complete component, or you can use the shortcut also. First component, login. So once you enter, now from Angular 17, we have got standalone components. So all the components are standalone. See, standalone proof. So app module won't get updated. Obviously, we don't have app module. So just like that, I will create the remaining components as well. Let me just create it. Yeah, I have created all the components. Now, if we expand this pages folder, so see, whatever the components we needed, I have created it. Once you create the component, the next thing is we have to create the routes. So we have to go to the app route.ts. Previously, we had the module, but now it's just a constant file. Fine. So here you can see an empty array is already created. It's just a constant and we are exporting it. And this routes, we are using it in over here. Provider router, and whatever the routes we created over here, we are using it. Fine. So here we have to create the route. Now it's an admin application. So first we need a default route. So here path will be empty. Sorry. Then redirect to, where we will redirect to, by default login page we need to display. Path match strategy we need to use, that will be full. We need to match it. So this is my default route. After that, we need to create our login path. So login, then component. So for default route, you don't have to specify the component. We are specifying redirect to, means if in the URL we don't have anything where it should redirect, login. So this login component will open. So login component. Then we need to create one more empty path, or you can specify the name also, but normally I go with empty path. Then component will be layout. And then this component will have the children array. Children means whatever the components which we are going to access after the login will be created over here. So path, let's say first dashboard, then component, dashboard component. Like that, comma separated, we need to create all the routes. Then we have employee component. Let me just create remaining. You can see this is the routing structure you should have. Fine. So routing work is done. Let's close it. Now, first thing, we have already run the application. So let's see and for login page. Yeah. So here you can see login work is coming. Let me remove it also. So currently we don't have anything in the URL, but still it is navigating to login page. So our login page is coming. We need the login page now. So let's Google it. Login page, HTML, CSS code. So instead of, if you have a strong experience and you can design it quickly, you can design your login page. Otherwise, you can use the ready-made content, whatever we have. So let's open it. Let's use, let's try to see the basic one. Don't waste so much time in designing because that is not our focus. We should be focusing on our functionality. Let's see the quick one. Let's use the first one. This looks proper. It has the image and everything. So from here, what you need to do, you just need to copy everything, HTML code. Let's paste it into our login component HTML. So I'm not explaining everything. I have created multiple tutorial videos, so you can just go through that because this project is only limited for the, what do we say, project specific. So I will be covering those only. And we have to put it our CSS also. Now that page was designed considering HTML page, but we don't have body over here. So instead of body, we will call it as a parent. And in the HTML, outside this, we need one more parent div, and all the container we have to move it inside over here. Fine. Let's just try to save and let's check if login page is coming properly or not. Yes. So you can see login page is coming proper. Whatever we copy pasted, just like that, it is coming. Fine. So login page is visible. Now, as we decided, we are going to have a login module, but we don't have API. Okay. So just a static login. Static login means hard code login we are going to do. So now we are going to complete a project, but while completing projects also multiple topics also we can see. So somewhere we will use template form, somewhere we will use reactive form, somewhere we will do the API call from component, somewhere we will do the API call from service. So all the, it's like a tutorial, all the topics will also we will cover. Fine. So for this we will use the normal template form. Now, so let's now we have to create the template form. So if we have to use the template form, first thing we have to use is forms module we need to import in our import section. Fine. Now we need to create an object. So first, before in login component, very basic code I'm explaining. I'm not going to create class or interface. So see how first we need to create an object. So now it's a static login. So you can take any object like email, password, username, password, whatever. So let's say login obj. I'm going with any. You should not use it any, but just for the time being, I'm just creating it. In next component, we will be going with class and interface, but you should be familiar with this also. Username, empty, password, empty. So we have created our object. Now this particular field from this object, we need to bind it to the form. So where we have, so this is the email, right? So here we need to bind square bracket, round bracket, ng model. What we need to bind? Login object dot, what we need to bind? Username. See, it's not suggesting, but if we have created class and interface now, it will suggest. So that is the advantage of having ng model properly connected with our class or interface. Then we have password. Fine. And see, one more error we will get. Let me just remove this name attribute. Let's save. Let's check. Now in the console, we will have error for that ng model. So if you don't have the name attribute, right? So this error will come if you are using ng model inside a form tag. So then name attribute gets mandatory. So in name attribute, you need to provide the same property name, whatever you have. Fine. Let's remove the unnecessary thing. We don't have this forgot password. So let's remove that. We don't have this sign in also. So let's remove that. Register also we don't need. So let's remove it. Fine. So now here we need to provide our login credentials. So how you will write the code? We have this login button. So instead of submit, let's make it button only. Click function. So event binding, we are going to do on login. Let's create this function. Fine. Now we said static or hardcode login. So that means here only we need to check. So this dot login object dot username is equal to, let's say, admin. And again, this dot login object dot password is equal to, let's say, 112233. Fine. So if user enter this credential, then only we will allow him to log in. And once user is successfully logged in, we will navigate to the dashboard. So from .ts, we have to navigate. So we have to make use of a router service. So router is equal to inject. So inject is the new thing what we got from Angular 16. What we need to inject? Router. So this is like previously we used to do this with dependency injection, but now we can create like this. So this dot router dot navigate by URL, and where we have to navigate, let's get the route of that. So our dashboard route is this. So we are going to navigate over here. And if user doesn't enter the required credential, we will show the alert box. Like, what do we say? Wrong credential. Let's just save and check if we are able to do the proper credential. So right now I'm just entering the wrong credential. So if I click on the login, you can see wrong credential is coming. Now let's try the correct password. Admin 112233. login. So you can see after login, we are able to navigate to the dashboard. But over here, layout component is coming. That's because in the routing, we said dashboard, but parent component is layout. So only layout component will be visible. In layout component, again, we will need router outlet. Then our proper dashboard component will render. Now in layout component, as we decided, we are going to have a navbar. So let's use the bootstrap navbar. Bootstrap. I have this bootstrap site. So here you can see so many examples. So let's try to get one bootstrap navbar example. Just click on example. Over here, you can see we have so many navbars. Which navbar we can use? It's an admin application. So instead of sidebar, I'm going to use this. Let's see. Let's use the middle one. Okay, let's copy. I'm just inspecting it so that we can just copy this whole container. We need to copy, edit as HTML. Let's copy. And this navbar will go into our layout component. So in layout component, we need to paste it. And after header, we are going to have one more container div. Let me just copy this. And inside that, we are going to have router outlet. So before using router outlet, we need to import it because all components are standalone. Router outlet. Fine. So over here, we will have router outlet like this. So let's save all. Now let's check. Now you can see navbar is visible and over here dashboard is also coming, but it's not coming as expected. We need a background color like this. So let's see what background color we have it over here. Fine. So on the body, we will add just this. So I will go to the index.html and to the whole body, I will add it style. Let's save and check. But why background white color is not coming? Why is it? And over here it was coming. But I think that is because of the container. Where is that color coming? It's coming from body only. What should we do? Let's use this PG dark. On the header, we need to add it. Let's just save and check if we have the background color coming. Yes, but it's because of container, it's not taking the full screen. So let's remove the container. Fine. So this is coming. So let's say this is our navbar. Now, but still it is not looking proper because we need to have proper navbar is like over here, we should have that log off button and everything, right? So instead of this now, let's use this one. Let's copy this header. Let's paste it over here. Save. Yes, this looking proper, but again, color thing is not there. Why color is not coming? Let's try use this one. Sorry, I'm wasting time. Mhm. BG dark. Let's try. Okay, let it be for now because this is not very important. Now, So login is login. After login, we are able to navigate to the dashboard, and that dashboard component is also visible. So let's just copy the content of the dashboard. I don't have the API for the dashboard yet, but I will create it. So once you access this, at the top, you will have the dashboard API. Okay. Now, the first thing we are going to do, work on the employee component. But before that, first we need to navigate also, right? So in normal HTML, to navigate from one page to another, we use href. But over here, we need to use router link. But again, to use that directive, we need to import it also, router link. Then over here, router link we need to use. And over here, what we, let's say home is nothing but we will call it as a dashboard. So dashboard, then let's copy. After that, what are the routes we have? Just like that, we will navigate. So then we will have employee. Then we have projects. And last one is the project employee. Let's copy. Let's paste. Let's remove this. Let's see if we are able to navigate. So by default, dashboard is there. If we click on employee, I think we didn't save the .ts. Save all. Now if we click, see, we are able to navigate. Okay. No, wait. Over here, I think I didn't copy pasted this. Yeah, employee component is there. Project component and then project employee component. Let's save. Now we should be able to navigate. So see, we are able to properly navigate. And once user is logged in, here we should have a logout button. So let's quickly complete that also. So in the layout, instead of this, we should have logout button. And on log off, what we need to do, we just need to remove, navigate it back to the login page. So click log off. Let's create this function. Again, we have to create the instance of our router service. So let's copy paste. See, whenever you are confident with the things and you are not doing it at the first time, always, if you are doing it for the first time, always write it. But once you get the confidence, basic thing you should copy paste. Don't waste that time so that your new things you can figure it out. Where we have to navigate to the login page. Let's just test it if we are able to navigate back to the login page. See, we are able to navigate. Let's log in again. AuthGuard we need to implement, but I won't be covering that. Already so many videos I have created how we implement the AuthGuard. So you can do that. Just the project functionality we are going to discuss. So now basic thing is done. Login page working is fine. Log off is also working fine. Navigation is also done. Now, first thing, employee component we are going to complete. So in employee component, we will do the CRUD operation in a single component. Means over here, we are going to show the list and at the side, we will have the form. So in a single component, we will complete the whole CRUD operation. Fine. So let's start. So let's start completing the employee component. Let me just close all the file. We just need to concentrate on the employee. So over here, we just need to design the UI. So UI, I already explained like UI is already there. So let's just copy. So this is the div. Let's copy and paste it over here. Let's try to check. Yes. So see, UI is coming like this. But we added that background color now. So let's remove that. We don't need this right now. Fine. So now form is looking good. Let's just add a form control class so that text box border will be properly visible. So border 1px solid. Yeah, solid is also fine. So let's just override. So now this form control class I'm going to override, and this is I'm going to need in all the component. So instead of doing it in every component, we can do it in the global CSS. So over here, form control and with important. Fine. Now if we see, so you can see it is proper. Now we have this form select. So from form select also we need to just do that. So let's copy, paste, select. Fine. Everything is coming proper. Now what we can do, so now over here we have the form and at the bottom we have the list. Now because at a time only form should be visible or the list should be visible. So if we can manage that at least by using the hide and show. Now from Angular 17 we have got control flow statement that we use means directly in the HTML we can write at the rate if and at the rate for loop kind of things, right? So we will use that. So what we will do here, we have the title and here we will have the button add. So once we click on add, then only this form will be visible, otherwise only table will be visible. So let's manage that now. So above this, let's create a row. Then let's say call 6. In call 6, we will have this label. And then remaining call 6, we will have button. Add new. And let's add class also. And this button should be right align. So text and class. Let's just save. Yeah, coming proper. So now on click of this add new, we have to show this. Otherwise, it will be hidden. Fine. So for this, let's create now we can create a variable also, but now from Angular 17, we have got signals. So start using it because in next releases, we are going to use so much of signals only. So let's create a signal is form visible is equal to, we are going to create a signal and we are going to provide the data type also. Now that we know that Boolean value we are going to store. So Boolean value round bracket by default, it will be false. Fine. So we have created a signal. Now this signal, we will use it on this form to hide and show. So over here at the retrieve signal, how do we read a signal? As a method like this. And inside that, we will have this. So by default, signal value, we have set it as false. So you can see form is not visible. Now on click of add, we just need to change the signal value. So now on this add button, click function. What we can do directly, we can call this method and we can pass true over here. Why it is not passing? Sorry, not like this. Dot set method like this. False, sorry, true value we need to pass. Let's check it. So now if I click on add new, you can see form is visible. And after submit, we need a close button over here. So let's add that also. So just like this button, we need close button in the form so that we can close the pop-up also. So that will be close. And here we will set it as false. Let's try. So now if we click on add new, button is visible. And if I click on close, that is also hidden. Fine. So functionality is proper. MT3 class we needed over here. Now, so in login component, we didn't create an interface or anything. We just created a standard, very basic code. Now, in case of employee, we are going to create class and interface and everything. So first, again, we are going to use template form, but we will bind that with the class. So let's check the API. So now employee. So this is the API create employee. So if you see this employee API, we have employee ID, that is primary key. Name, contact number, email, department ID. Now department ID is our foreign key. So for department ID, we have two more APIs. Departments are dependent department, means we have parent department and the child department. So let me show you that first. So where is parent department? Yeah, get parent department. So if we click on execute, you can see there are parent department. So many departments are there. Let's say, also not no. So let's say this department ID 3040. And let's see if child departments are there or not. So this is the API. We need to pass the parent department ID. Okay, no department is there. Let's see, get all child department. In which department we have the parent? Yeah, so we have some departments. Okay. Now, so first of all, what we need to do, we need to integrate dependent dropdown. Means in the UI, over here we will have parent department, and once we change the parent department, then our actual child department will come. Okay. So on the page load, first we need to call get all department. Then whatever the departments we will get, that we will bind it over here. Let's just like department, we are going to have parent department also. So this will be child, and one more will be, so instead of call 6, let's use call 4 so that we can have 3 columns in a row. Parent department and then child department. Fine. Now on the page load, we need to call the API. So now we are moving towards the API call integration. So in from Angular 17, we don't have the app module, correct? So now we have app config. So to make API call in the app config, provider section is there. Here you need to write provide HTTP client. Provide HTTP. Why it's not suggesting? Let's add import statement first. Sometimes it will suggest, sometimes it will not suggest. Plus slash common slash HTTP. Fine. And then you can see provide HTTP client method is coming. Okay. So this is the thing what you need to add when you have to make the API call. Let's close it. Now, so this is the API call which we are going to make. Get department. So all the API will have this common URL. This will be common. So instead of writing in every API call function, what we can do, we can store this in our environment file or a service file. So for now, what I will do, I will just create a service. So in app folder, I will create a service folder. And in service folder, I will create a service. I will call it as a master service. All the it's a small project, so we can go with a single service. So ng generate service, let's say master. It's not that you can create all the API call function in a single service. You can divide that also. Based on the model, you can create multiple services also. It is also fine. But it's a small project, so I'm keeping only one service and all the API call will be over here. Okay. So now this is service we have created. Now here we have to integrate our HTTP client service. So HTTP colon HTTP client. Now first function we are going to create, that is get all department. We are going to return whatever the data we get, this dot HTTP dot get API call. And here we need to provide the API URL. So this is our complete URL. So let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Now, this is very basic API call function, but this should not look like this. We need to properly provide the return type, what kind of data we are returning. So if you see, we are going to return the data type of, from API, we are going to get object of message, result, and data. So let's create interface for that. So now in our app folder, again, I'm creating a folder that will be, let's say, model. And inside model, again, I'm creating folder interface. And up in model, again, I will create a folder that will be class. So now in interface, I'm creating one interface. So let's say master.ts, a simple TypeScript file. Now inside the TypeScript file, I have to create an interface. So export interface I API. Whenever you are creating an interface, now make sure you provide the starting name with I so that we can identify like this is an interface. Now we just need to provide the data type. Message will be of data type string. Then result will be of data type Boolean. Then data, it can be anything. Sometimes we will get array, sometimes we will get single object. It can be anything. So we will go with any. Fine. So now this service, whatever the API call we are making, this API call is going to return the data type of this object. So here we just need to provide a data type. So observable, what type of data? API response model we are going to return like this. And after get also, we need to provide the data type like this. So now this should be your API call look like in a service. Fine. Now, now on the page load, we need to call the API call. So here on the page load, whenever you have to do something on the page load, what you need to do, ng on init lifecycle event you need to use. So implement on init. So see, once I implement it now, it will add this in the import also. Once you implement on init, it will ask you to create ng on init like this. Then I will create a normal function get all, or instead of get now, get parent department. So in this component, we are going with the normal approach. In the next component, we will use async pipe and everything. Fine. Now, so we have created master service. Now this master service, we need to inject it over here. So let's use our inject service. So master SRV is equal to inject. What we need to inject? Master service. Now here, this dot master service dot, only one function is there. And that function is going to return the data type of observable, so we can subscribe to it. Result colon. What type of data we are returning? Again, this model. So here also we need to use the import. Let's add arrow function. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to store it also. So what type of data we are going to get? This type of. So let's create interface for that also. So in master service only, let's copy paste I department. It should be parent department. These are the fields we have. Let's just copy paste. Data type, this will be number. This will be department name will be string. And this too also string. Fine. So we have created interface for department object also. Now over here we have to create an array, or we can create a signal only. Why to create a normal array? No? So let's say parent department list is equal to signal. And in this signal, what type of data we are going to store? Array of this interface. So like this. And we will initialize with empty. Let's add the import also. So again, like if you are literally fresher in this Angular now, so this will be little bit hard for you, because I'm not covering everything. So just try, go through my tutorial first, then only start with the project. But if you have basic knowledge now, then it will be very easy to you. So parent department list dot set method. So we use set method to update the signal value. What do we get? Res dot data. So in the data, we are actually getting the data. See, in data, you are getting the actual array. So that's why result dot data. Now this function we need to call on the page load. So in ng on init, we will trigger this function. Fine. So whatever the data we get, that we are going to store it over here. Let's bind this in the HTML also. So this is a static placeholder. After that, at the rate for loop signal we are going to use. So now inside this, we have to use option value and value to in the property binding. What we need to bind? Item dot. So see, once I press the dot, you get all the property IntelliSense provided. Correct. So that is the benefit of creating classes and interfaces. Fine. Now here we will bind department name. So let's save all and let's check if we are able to see the departments. Add new. So yes, you can see whatever the API call was there, whatever the API data is there, that is we have successfully binded. Now on change of this, we need to get the child department, right? So now on change of this, so what we can do, we will write a function normally. So first we need a normal variable, and that variable we will bind it over here by using template binding. So parent department data type will be string is equal to empty. Now this parent department ID. Now this variable, we need to bind it to our template by using ng model. So if we are going to use ng model, forms model, we need to add. Fine. So now this variable we need to bind on this drop down, means select square bracket, round bracket, ng model. Over here we need to bind. And once this drop down change, we need to call another API. So change event on parent department change. Make sure whenever you are writing the function also, now your function should be descriptive. If anyone else is reading your code, he should be properly understanding like what is the function, what is the functionality of this function. Fine. Now, once the drop down change, we are calling this. Now in master service, we need one more API. So let's copy paste. Now second API to get the child department from the parent department. So this is the another API. So this is our API. So let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Now this function will need a parameter. So that will be department ID, data type number, and whatever the department ID we will get, that we have to provide it over here like this. Get child department by ID. Fine. But now here, if you see, we are repeating this. See, we are repeating this code. So instead of repeating this URL is going to be common. So why to write in the every function? Na? So what we can do, we can create a global variable. So API URL data type string is equal to, and the common part, we will move it over here. You can keep your API URL over here, or you can do the same thing in the environment folder also. Other projects, you can see how I have created the environment folder. Fine. Now over here, you just need to bind it. So this dot API URL plus like this. So this is the older way, that is concatenation. Now in this function, we will go with the new way, that is by using template literal. So over here, dollar curly bracket, this dot API URL. After that, this is the method name. Again, we need to bind the property, whatever we get. So department ID will go over here. Let's remove this. So this is, we have done the concatenation, but using template literal. So this is the new thing. You should be writing it. Try to avoid this. It is going to work the same, but try to use this template literal way of writing. Fine, because in the interview they will ask you question, what is the template literal, how we use it. So if you are using it daily, you don't have to again, or you will be more confident while answering. So now this service function we need to call in this function. So this dot master service dot this function we need to call. And what we need to pass? Department ID means this variable, because this variable we have banded to that text box. What it is saying, data type mismatch might be there. Let's initialize with number. Let's initialize with 0. Subscribe, round bracket, result, I API response model. Fine. Now, just like the parent department, we will need one more signal. So child department. We are just now for child department also. Let's see if the object is something else. Yes, the object is different. So let's copy and let's create an interface for this also. Instead of parent, it will be child department ID. Let's copy over here, department ID. Fine. So we have created this. Now the data type, we need to provide it over here in the signal. Fine. Now whatever the data we get, that we need to store into this signal. So this dot child department dot set method, what we need to set? Result dot data, whatever the data we get from the API call. Capital R is there. So let's copy paste. And whatever the data we get, that we need to store, that we need to iterate on this element. So let's just copy this for loop over here. Child department ID we need to bind, that is will be the primary key, and department name is the same. Let's just save all and let's check. So now whatever the department has the children, that will be visible. So let me just show you the API call also now. So if we, why data is not coming? Some error is there. Okay. So see, we have got this ng model within a form tag. So if we are using ng model within a form tag, name attribute becomes mandatory. So let's add a name attribute. Same thing. Let's save. So now on the page load, we will have one API call that will be get all parent department. See, now if we change the department, currently in this drop down, we don't have any data. Let's try to select engineering. No data is there for engineering also. Array, empty array is there. SQL. In which department we have the data? Let's quickly create. I think APIs are open, so someone might have changed it. So let's create a new department. Let's say that marketing. So marketing we have created. The ID is 3051. Let's add some child department into it. Parent department ID will be this. Let's say Facebook marketing. Let's add. Then let's say Insta marketing. Now let's try it. Let's reload. Now, so if we select marketing, so now you can see two records are coming. Got it? So likewise, you can also add your department and just add the child department. Fine. So our dependent drop-down work is done. Now, next thing we need to bind, we need to create object to bind to this form. So that will be of our employee object. So this object. So so many properties are there. So what we can do, we can use a tool which will allow us to convert this to direct TypeScript object. So convert JSON to TS. Let's use this. Try to minimize your this kind of time taking work, right? So let's copy again. Now here I'm going for this, I'm going to create a class. Now, so many guys have the question like when we have to create the class and when we have to go for the interface. So whenever you are storing data into a variable, just showcase somewhere, you can go for the interface. But if you are binding that to the form, go for the class because we have to initialize it. Initializing interface is difficult. Initializing class is at a one place because we have the constructor. Now, so here let's say employee.ts. So it will be export class. This will be employee like this. Now all the property are saying like we need to initialize it. So it's a class, so we can have access to the constructor. Sorry, fine. So now over here, we just need to initialize all the properties. So this dot contact number with equal to empty. This, so just primary key we need to initialize with 0 because first time we are creating a record, so we need to send the property ID with 0. Fine. Just like this, let me initialize all the field. Like this, you need to initialize all the properties. Now, as we have created our class, now this class we can use it over here. So now over here, let's create a normal variable. So employee obj. Now data type will be our class. Sorry. Instead of any, we will be using our class object. Fine. Let's add the import. And since it's a class, so we can use new operator to initialize it so that our constructor will get called and this won't be undefined. All the properties will be initialized. Now this object, we need to bind it to the form. So whatever the elements we have, now again a shortcut will be over here. So I will be replacing this class form control with square bracket, round bracket, ng, model, employee object, dot, what we need to bind it over here. This is for employee name. So let me just quickly copy paste. Parent department, we have binded something else because that we don't need to pass it. This we need to pass it to the API. Gender, that's it. So let's bind it. Gender, here, role, here, password, employee name is there. So here, department ID we need to pass. Then here, email ID we need to pass. And this will be contact number. Fine. So whatever the fields we had that we have binded successfully. Now on click of submit, we need to write our API call. So click on save. Let's create this function. Fine. Now again, instead of writing API call in the component, we have created service. So let's write the API call. So now I'm just copy pasting because already I have explained. So now this will be save employee. For save employee, we will get the data. So obj that too with data type employee. Employee type of data we are going to get. And let's get the URL. So our URL will be create employee. So this will be our method name. It will go over here. Now this function we need to call. Oh, sorry, it's a post API. So post will be there. And for post API, we need to pass URL and object like this. Fine. So now in the component, so this dot master service dot save EMP. And for this save EMP, we have to pass our object. So that will be employee object dot subscribe result I API response arrow function. Now, so as I said, like my API will return you the data type. Oh, sorry. Why? Yeah. So some API is returning some data, proper data type, like this, but some API you have to depend on the means success and the error callback. So this API won't return. This API will return the same model, but you will get 200, 201, 400 if anything error is there. So you don't have to write anything. So now here, if API call is success, it will execute this. Otherwise, it will go to the error. So you will need error block also. So now here, if API call is success, this success block will execute. And here you can say employee created. Fine. So let's just test it. Whenever you are writing for the first time, just try to add a debugger over here also, and in the service also. Everywhere you should add the debugger. So you will get to know like what data, how it is behaving, correct? So let's check it. So on click of add new, let's try data one. Contact number 1122334455. Don't provide your actual data because APIs are free. Everyone will be able to see it. So don't provide any relative information. 11 password 11 sorry 112233 role. So role, let's say employee, and gender, let's say male. Now on click of submit, let's enable the debugger first. So now you can see if I hover on the, wait, we are not getting the data. I think we missed that error. Yeah. So see, this error is there because we forgot to bind that name property everywhere. So let's just quickly do that. Name is equal to, again, same property we need to bind. Name, role, password, name, department ID will go over here. Name, email ID will go over here. Name, contact number will go over here. And name, employee name. Now it should work. Let's try it again. Add new. Let's try data one, contact number. Marketing, only marketing department has the record. So that's when I'm selecting that. Let's select Facebook marketing. Why we are getting debugger? 112233 role, employee, gender, male. Fine. Let's try to click on save. So now if I hover, you can see whatever the data we filled in the form that is properly assigned to our object. Here you can see department ID 21 means Facebook marketing ID we have got. So from here we are calling function from the service. So it will go over there and same object we got it over here. Now this we are passing to the API. Continue. So see, in response, you will get the employee ID 1. So first record is there. So employee ID 1 we have got. So this was primary key. Database has automatically incremented because while sending, we send 0, right? Now alert box will be there, employee created. Now we need to show this employee also. So for showing the employee, we have one more API. So that will be get all employee. write out, execute. So see, one record we are getting. Now we need to integrate this API also. So again, in the master service, we need one more API. So let's copy paste, get all EMP. Our method name will be get all employees. So let's copy paste. Now on the page load, we need to call two things, department and get API also. So I will just copy this signal. So this will be, let's say, employee list. Now we need to create an we have already created instance of this. So this we can use it over here. Correct? Because again, we don't need to create interface. Class is already created, no? So we can use that also. Now, just like this, we need to create one more function. I'm copy pasting because first time I have already explained. Get employees. And here get all EMP. And where we need to store employee list signal over here like this. And this function also we need to call on the page load. Fine. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to print it in the HTML also. So let's copy this. Now in the table, we need to just iterate. So over here at the rate for loop, our signal value. Now inside that, we should have a tr, td. How many td we need? Like that, we will copy paste. Fine. So first, employee ID. So normally we don't showcase employee ID. Whatever the primary key is there now, we don't showcase. We can show serial number. For serial number, we can use this dollar index. So over here, we will use interpolation, dollar index plus one. By default, it start from the 0. And over here, we need to bind item dot. So see the benefit of binding properly with the interface and class. We get all the thing IntelliSense. Let's copy or at a single go like this. Sorry. We just need to copy this. Now over here, contact number we need to bind, then email ID, department name. Let's check if we are getting the department name. No, I think I forgot to bind that join. I forgot. So by the time I will be releasing this now, you will get department name also over here because we cannot show the department ID now. By ID, how you will know like which department it is. So I will be sending the department name also. So just make sure you do the same. Like for now, I'm showing the department name, role, gender I will hide, and we will have the action at the last column. So I will keep it as empty for now. So let's just save all and let's check if we are able to see all the data. We are not able to see. Let's check why. Let's reload. So on the page load, we should have two API call. Yes, API call is there. Oh, so now, so see, this API call is directly returning the array. But what we have written over here, the return type we said like it is a result dot. Oh, no. Over here, result dot data. But we are going to get the API response directly. So over here, instead of this, so now this API is not returning that object. It is returning directly employee array. So here employee array we have to say like this. So return type got changed now. Over here also. So now over here also we need to change it. Instead of result.data, directly result. Fine. Let's save. Now it should work. See, the data is visible. Fine. So our get operation is done. Let's remove this employee list. Looks like two headings are there. Let's save. So now if I click on add new, form is also visible. And if I close, it looks proper. Now get operation and save operation is done. Next is edit and the delete. So let's quickly do that. Edit and delete won't take so much time. So see, now we are doing the CRUD operation in a single component, and in the get API only, we are getting all the data. We have one more API that is get employee by employee ID, where you will pass the single employee ID and you will get the data. But in the array, already we have the actual all the data. So instead of calling that API, we can make use of the array data. So now over here, we need two buttons. So first button will be edit and second button will be delete. Now over here on edit, and now for on edit, we will pass the whole object that is item. On delete. So let me show you the delete API. So for delete, you just need to pass the ID. So we will just need the ID, means primary key. So item, sorry, item dot employee ID. That is the primary key we need to send. Let's create this function now on delete and on edit. So for an edit function, we are going to get the data, means of employee type, employee. Everywhere you should have the properly data type, right? Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to assign it to the employee object like this. And you need to enable the form also. So this dot form visible dot set, you need to make it true. Fine. Just like that on delete. And for on delete, we are going to get the ID of data type number. Fine. Yeah. Now let's quickly write the API call function. So for update, you need to use this API. See, this is the API which we need to use. And for API, we need to pass the ID also, means primary key. Let me just get that URL I'm trying to get. So this should be our API. Let's copy. Now in our service, we need the put API. So just like this, instead of save, it will be update. Instead of post, it is our put API. So for update, normally you will get the put API. Then update employee slash object over here plus obj dot employee ID also we need to pass, because you in URL also we need to pass the employee ID and object also. So this should be your API call function. Then here we need to show two buttons. If so, here if employee ID is 0 means we are creating new record. So we need to show the submit button. So this dot employee object dot employee ID. If it is 0, we will show the save button. So let's copy. This button will go over here. Let's say save employee. That will make more sense. And if employee ID is not equal to 0, then at the rate else. And in the else, we will have again the button, but it will be update employee. Let's change the color instead of primary. Let's use a warning. Fine. This is done. And over here on update function also we need. Let's create this function. So first we will complete the update thing. Now this API call function we will need. Instead of save, it will be update. Object we have sent. Just let's change the message. And in error block, you can just show API error. Let me just copy this, post it over here. So update is done, just like delete. Let me just complete the writing, then we will test it. So in case of delete now, we need to show that pop-up. Are you sure want to delete or not? So for that is delete. Confirm box we will use, and we can send the message. Are you sure want to delete? So if user clicks on OK, so we will get true over here. So if it is true, then only we need to make the API call. So let's copy paste. We need to pass API call function for the delete. So let's check the delete API. So let's try it out. Always try to get the proper URL from over here. So this is the URL. So let's copy. We don't need the object, and it will be delete method. Delete emp by ID, because we are going to pass a parameter over here. So as I said, function name should be descriptive, because we are going to pass an ID over here. So delete emp by ID. And over here, we need to pass the ID. Fine. Now in our component, let's copy paste this. Instead of update, it will be delete emp. And what we need to pass, whatever the ID we get. Fine. Employee deleted. After every add, update, delete, we need to call this function so that updated record will be visible. So this we have to call it over here. after update also, and after delete also. So all the CRUD operation we have written, just we need to test it now. Somewhere we are getting error 108 here only. Let's make it string. Let's change it to string. It won't matter. Let's try save all. Fine. Still something is there. Let's check why. Get all employees. We are getting empty. Why empty? We just created one record, no? Let's check. Record got deleted or what? Execute. Oh, empty array. Let's try adding one more. Data one. I think someone is deleting record. We created marketing, but I think someone has deleted it. Let me just quickly create it. That's why I restrict delete thing. Let's click on execute. No, it says marketing is already existed. Let's reload. Get department. Do we have marketing? Yeah, marketing is there. Where is marketing? Okay, sorry. I was not able to see it. Data one, password 112233, role, employee, gender, male. Let's click on save. So see, at the time in table, we don't have any data. So table is empty. Once we click on save employee, API call is there. And after that, again, we are making the get API call. So data is also visible. Fine. Let's reload one more time. And after save, our form should be reinitialized also. Now, so for that, what you need to do, you just need to reinitialize our object. So once we do the save, so this dot employee object is equal to, again, we need to call the constructor employee like this. So our form will be updated after save and after update also. Fine. Let's just check. So now if I click on the edit, see, data is form is also visible and data is also properly binded. Just this part is not there. I will explain like how do we do at the end, because we at the time what do we have? Just the department, but we need to write specific code for this. So I will take it at the end of the video. Fine. So let's change it to data 2 and let's try the update. So see, update button is also visible. Employee update is there. What we change? Yeah, data 1 2 is there. So update is also visible. Update is also properly working. Now let's add one more record. Data 33. Marketing. Let's click on save. Data created. So we have two records. Let's try to delete the data 33. So on click of delete, we get the pop-up. If I click on cancel, you can see no API call is there. But if I click on delete OK, you can see one API call is there, but we are getting error. See, let's check why. So here you can see in delete employee, we have passed employee email. We have what we have to pass? Employee ID. So I think from HTML, I sent wrong data. Let's check. Wait, at the end we have. So here email ID I have sent. What we need to pass? Employee ID. Let's check one more time. Wait, what happened? It is saying employee ID. Okay, so that's why that string error was there. Let's change it back to number. And over here also in the function also we need to change it to number. Let's save and check. Fine. So now if I click on delete and if I click on OK, so see 204 means employee got deleted success. And after that, again, we are making the get API call. So record also got removed. So like this, we have completed our CRUD application of our employee portal. Next thing, we have to complete the project and then project employee. Then lastly, we have to go with the dashboard. So for now, that's it. Sorry, I forgot. So we will now start with the project. So now next thing, employees are created. Now we have to create the projects, like whatever the projects we have going on in our company, that we need to document it somewhere. So now we will start with the project. So this is the component. So let's just get the UI also. So UI will be from over here. Let's copy. Now this we have to copy paste into our component. That is project component. Let's paste it. Let's save. So UI is visible. Now, in the first component, what we did in the single component only, we did the whole CRUD operation. So now for project, what we will do for this component, we will just show the projects, mean list, and we will create one more component for the form. So let's create it quickly. So pages, right click, ng generate component, project, form. So in this component, we will have the just the form, and in the project component, we will have the list. Fine. Now let's move this form to our project form component. And from project, we will remove this. Project, new project. Fine. Let's create the route also. Now this component is going to be a routed because once we click on the edit, we are going to route to this component with some ID also. So project :/ID. Let's just save. And in the navigation also, in the project component, what we can do over here, we can have just row call structure, and then we can have a button to navigate. So this will go over here, and then for all 6, we can have a button. New project. And on this button click, we have to navigate to the new project component. So we need to add the router link. Without that, we cannot navigate. Router link. And sorry, I think yeah, here also we are going to need, but here we need router link. Fine. So now, oh my God, over here we need to do. Fine. So here we can directly use router link where we need to navigate our recently created new project. So over here /0. Let's try if we are able to navigate. Save. So now if I click, something error is there. Let's see why. Cannot match any route. Let's try. I think this will be first we need colon and slash. Yes. If I click on new project, so now you can see we are able to navigate, but why component is not visible? Okay, here again, same component was there. So here component will be project form. Let's try and save now. So now here you can see we are able to see our component. Let's go back again. So see, we are able to navigate. Fine. Now, let me just close everything. So in the project component, what we need to do, just we need to showcase the list of the project. Fine. But as we don't have any data into the table, so first we will complete our project form. So now in project form, we will try reactive form. So we have already completed the template form. So now in this component, we will go with the reactive form. So whenever we are dealing with the reactive form, first we need to import reactive form module. So over here, reactive form module we need to import. Then we need to create the form. Form as in what are the controls we have? What are the elements we have? So these are the properties we have, right? So this we need to send. So I'm just copy pasting it. Now we need to create the form. So let's say project form group, new form group, round bracket, curly bracket. Fine. Now we need one more method also to initialize this form. So by default, we are just initializing the form. Fine. So let's create one more method. We can initialize directly over here, but that is not a good thing. So create or initialize form. That will make more sense. Initialize form. So this dot project form is equal to again new form group, round bracket, curly bracket. Inside that we need to create the controls now. So control has nothing but the properties we have. So project ID colon new form control. We will initialize project ID. We have to initialize with 0. So that's why 0. Then project name colon new form control. Like this, we need to initialize all the field. Let me just initialize. So this is our form will look like. So this is very basic initialization of reactive form. Now, if we have to initialize, wait, if we need to add the validation also, so here only we can add the validation like validators, sorry, in square bracket, because validations will be multiple. So validators dot required. Like this, you will keep on going adding the validation. Fine, but I'm not covering that because so many videos I have already covered. So you can just refer those. Now, and this function we need to call in the constructor so that once the page load, our form will be properly initialized. Fine. Now, if you see the object, project ID is our primary key. And inside that, lead EMP ID, lead by employee means whatever the project is there, who is going to lead this project. So here we need to show the drop down of the employee, right? So we are on the page load in this component also, we are going to need the list of employees so that we will show it into the drop down. So for that, now in the last in employee component, we have just did the basic thing. Now here we will try to make use of the async pipe. Fine. Let me just first before that now first we will bind the form. So this is our form. Do we have any error? No. Let's open it side by side. So this is our form, right? So now we have to bind this. So now this form, we need to bind it to our HTML template. So we have this form tag. So over here, square bracket, form group. And this to this form group, what we need to provide? Our form name, that is project form. Then in all the HTML element, we need to bind form control name. So what I will do, so over here, let's say form control name is equal to some value, right? So what I will do, I will search this and I will replace that with this so that we will minimize our time in the copy paste. Fine. Now we just need to bind it. So project name, then client name, start date. Then we have lead EMP ID. Here we are going to need a drop down, but let it be right now. Contact person name, like whatever the contact person we have to do from client side, and contact number. Email ID is there, but I think email ID we missed to add it over here. Let's copy paste. Instead of 6, let's make it 4, 4, 4, and email ID. Fine. So this is how we bind the form. Now, as I said, here lead AMP ID. So here we need to provide the dropdown because it's a foreign key. So we need to get the employees list and that we will bind it over here in the dropdown. So let's call the API. So now here we are going to make use of the async pipe. So async pipe. So first we have to create an observable. Sorry. What will be employee list dollar colon observable. What type of data we are going to store? Employee list. So employee, as we have already created the class employee array, we are going to store new observable. Fine. So what we have done, we have just created an observable. Now we have to already API call service is already there in our service, right? So master service is equal to inject master service. And then now in constructor to this observable, we are going to pass the value. So this dot, what is it? Employee list is equal to this dot master service dot get all employee. So whatever the data we get, that will get stored into this observable. And now this observable, we will directly subscribe. So instead of subscribing to the .ts, we are directly subscribing into the HTML. So those who don't know, it might be a little bit hard because I already said like this won't, this is like I'm covering this project considering you already know the basic thing. Fine. So we are checking the use of async pipe over here. Select, then at the rate for loop, observable, and we have to use async pipe. Now, from Angular 17, whatever you have to use, you need to import that. So we are going to use async pipe, so we need to import it. So async pipe, fine. Then we can access it. See, now it came. Now inside this option, so inside this for loop, we have to use the option. Let's just add this to our drop down. Instead of form control, let's use form select. Fine. Now here we need to bind the value also. So dynamically item dot employee ID we need to bind. And while displaying, we will display the employee name. So interpolation item dot employee name. Fine. Now let's see if we are able to see the employee drop down. Yes, see, only one employee we created, so that is coming. So this is the async pipe. So once the UI load, that async pipe will trigger and it will subscribe whatever the data we get from that function. Fine. Now it's just a normal CRUD operation. Now on click of submit, we need to make an API call. So, but we don't have the service, right? So let's create the service. So just like save EMP, we will have it. So I'm just copy pasting, save project. Fine. So now method name we need. Let's check the method name, create project. Let's copy. Now I will be going a little bit fast because we have so many things to cover. Now over here, I will be just copy pasting from the employee. Just a normal API call function. This I'm copy pasting and it will go over here. And on save, we are going to call a method. So over here, let's go with button, round bracket, click on save project, round bracket. Let's change our function name. Now, so save project. Fine. So now here we need to save project API call function we are going, but we need the form value because object we need to pass, right? So form value, this dot project form dot value, this we need to use, and this we will pass it over here as a parameter. What type of response we are going to get? Project only. So interface I have created. Let me quickly show you the interface also. In model, I have created this interface, iProject. So this we need to provide it over here. And we need the import also. And we just need to change the return type of this also. Let's add the import because only single type of data we are going to get. Now, so we don't need this and we can just reset the form after once we save. So this dot project form dot reset method we can use. Fine. Now let's just check if we are able to create the project.
So now let's say project name is ABC Corp. Sorry, ABC Corp, we can say is a client. Project name is ERP banking, something project name. Start date, let's say it is going to start from today. Only one employee we have added, so let's select that. Contact person name, let's say SSS. Contact number, let's add a dummy mobile number. Email ID, admin@gmail.com. Now, so if I click on submit, we should see one API call. If everything is correct, we should be able to see it. Yes. And we have got 200, two not one success, means project got created successfully. Now let's check get API call on the Swagger if we are able to see the project or not. Yes. So see, whatever the project we have created, it is visible. Now this API call, we have to integrate. Fine. Now this API call we need to bind in our list page. Means over here we need to show all the projects. So let's quickly do that. Let me just close. Then we will move to the edit thing. So over here on the page load, we are going to make the API call. So implement on init. Once we implement, it will ask us to implement ng on init. Get projects. Now I have already created the project interface. So project list, data type I project. It will be array, initialize with empty. So now we need to integrate the master service also. Inject, what we need to inject? Master service. Fine. Now in master service, we just have to create a API call function. So let's copy. Okay, it's just a get API call. So I will copy this. Now our method name. So our method name is get all projects. So let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Fine. Now in get project, this dot master service dot get all project round bracket. Now we are going to get the return type of employee. Okay. Here also we need to change what type of data we are going to get. I project, right? So let's change it. Now result colon I project array we are going to get. Wait. Oh, sorry. I forgot subscribe. Fine. So now over here, this dot project list is equal to res, whatever the response we get that we need to store. Fine. We just need to bind it to the template now. This function we need to call over here. Fine. So now project list, we will bind it to the HTML. So over here, at the red for loop. Again, here also we could have used the async pipe only because that array we are not using anywhere. But here I will be explaining ng on destroy. So that's why I'm going with the normal way. Like what is the actual purpose of ng on destroy that we will see it over here. Let's quickly complete this. So first TD, we have to showcase this dollar index +1. It won't be project ID, it will be serial number so that we don't have to showcase the primary key anywhere. Item dot what we need to show project name. Sorry, project name. Let's copy paste now. Then client name we can show. Start date. Then lead by employee. I think again I forgot to add the join, but let's let it be. And here we are going to need two buttons. So let's just copy the buttons from over here. Danger class. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. For now, I will just remove the buttons call. Then we will again add it back. So let's just save and check if we are able to see the projects. Yes, so see, we are able to see the project. Here, I know like two, we should not show. We should be able to see the employee name, but I didn't, I'm not returning the employee name from your, from API. But by the time you will use this API, you will find employee name. Okay. Now on click of edit, what we need to do, we need to navigate to the other component. So, and we need to pass the ID. So what ID? Project ID we need to pass. So let's quickly create these two functions. Just like that, we will have delete also. Number. Now on click of edit, we are going to navigate to other component, that is project form. So again, we need the instance of router. Inject. What we need to inject? Router service. Fine. Now over here, this dot router dot navigate, and here we need to pass array. First will be our route name. So our route name is new project. And second parameter, second element, what do we say? Second element will be our parameter, that will be ID. So let's just check this if we are able to navigate to the project form. Then we have to read the data and everything. So on click of edit, you can see we are able to navigate along with the parameter to the project form. Now in this component, we need to read this ID and we need to get the data of that particular ID by API. So we have one more API to read the data of the single ID. See, this is the API. Let me just try. So see, this is the API. If we pass that per project ID, it will get us the single object of that particular project. So let's complete this now. So over here, we need that function to get the API call. It's like getting a single record. Get project by ID. And it will have the parameter ID, colon number, and method name. Sorry. Let's just get the method name like this. Instead of one, we just have to provide the ID whatever we get. So our URL will be dynamic. Now, in our project form component, we need to read the data from the URL. So that we can do by activated route. Inject. Fine. So activated route will get you all the information of the current route. So from that, we have to subscribe to params dot subscribe result colon Amy, and whatever the ID we will get now, we will get it over here. Now that ID, we just need to check if result dot ID is not equal to 0, then only we need to make that API call. So let me just write the API call. Get project form value instead of project. What is the function name we have given? Get project by ID. And we need to pass, we will add an ID parameter over here also. And this ID, we will pass it over here. Wait, and it's going to return a single instance. So we don't need array over here in project form. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to assign to the form also. Now we just need to modify our form little bit, because this function was just to initialize the form with empty value. Now we have to initialize the form with whatever the value we get. So over here, we will add a data parameter with data type this I project. And now wherever we have initialized this, if data, so if data is not undefined, So data dot, what it project ID, otherwise it will be 0. If data is there, we will assign data dot project ID, otherwise it will be 0. Like that, we need to initialize. Let me just quickly copy paste. Let's just copy paste. Contact number will go over here. Oh, we need to initialize with empty. That 0 I will remove. And project name. Fine. Now, so over here, we will get the data, and this function, we will call it if not equal to 0 over here. So this dot this function and result dot ID, we need to pass it over here. And let's make this optional also, because while initializing, we don't have the parameter. So I have added the optional so that we will call the function. And again, this function we need to call once we get the data. So this dot initialize form, and we will pass the data, whatever the data we get from the API. Reset we will remove. Let's just test if we are able to populate the data. See, data is coming, just data is not coming because we need to format it. Okay, I will do this at the end. Fine. So remaining data is coming. And now for update, same thing, whatever we have done, right? Hide and show button we need to do. Whatever the logic we have written in the employee, now just like that, we need to write. So let's quickly do that. So this is the button. Let's copy paste. Now over here, there we directly had the access of the object dot property, but now over here we have the form. So project form dot controls square bracket. What control? Project ID. So we need to match it for project ID. So if project ID dot value equal to 0 means this is new scenario. So we will save submit button. Instead of submit, let's make it save project. Fine. And to the else, at the rate else, we will show our update button. So this will go over here. Let's change the color to warning. And it will be update project. And just like on save, we will need on update also. Let's quickly create this function also. So as I said, so many things are there. It takes time. Again, same kind of API call function will be there. Now in the service also, we need one more API call. Just like save project, it will be update. Let's get the method name. That is with update, sorry, last one, update project. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. This is the method name. And in the URL only, we need to pass the ID also. And then, wait, where we copied? Over here. Fine. And but in the URL only, we need to pass the ID also. So plus here, I project type of data we are going to get. So obj dot project ID, because in update case, we need to pass the URL also, ID also in URL and object also. Now this function we need to call over here. Fine. Project employee, it will be project created. Fine. Let's save and check if we are able to update also or not. Now we should be able to see the update button. Yes. Okay, let's go back and check if we are in the new case, we are able to see the save button. Okay, why we are making the API call? Let's debug that code. Because on the page load, we should not be, if in the URL we have 0, we should not be making that API call, correct? So let's debug that project.component.ts. Over here, we will check it. So in result, okay, so see, we are getting in the string format and we are comparing with the integer. So that's why it is checking. So let's remove the single equal to so that it won't check the data type. Let's check now. Now you can see API call is not there. But if we are in the edit mode, we should see one API call. Get it? Fine. Now let's just update banking ERP2. I'm just updating the project name. On click of update. Why API error? I think we forgot to make the API call function to put. Yes, it's because API method is put. We cannot send post now. Let's try now. So little things you need to worry when you are copy pasting. Right? So project update is done. Now if you see project update is done. Let's quickly now delete. I already explained like same thing is there. So I will skip the delete part. Now we have to move to the project employees. So that is the next module. So the last module we have to complete is the adding. So we have created project, correct? Now in this project, what are the employees working that we need to add? So for that, we have this component. So now here we need to complete that. So let's just copy paste the UI. So that is project employee. Now in the employee component, we have done the CRUD operation like this by hide and show, correct? In the project component for add, we have navigated to the new component, means with routing we have done. Now in the project employee, what we will do in a single component only, but side by side. So that using the card structure. So let me just copy paste this. Let's copy where it is. Project employee. I will paste it over here for now. Then I will just redesign the UI. So now we are going to have two panels. Fine. So first I'm creating row, then let's say call it. Inside call it, we are going to have a card, or directly let's use the card will be better, or let's use the table directly because we are not using card anywhere. So in the first call it, we will have this table, and what remaining is call for. Inside call for, we will have our form. So let's get the form. Let's paste it over here. And let's get rid of this structure. Let's save. So now this is how form will look like. But again, if we have the proper card, then it will look proper. So let's just quickly add the card. That will be better. Fine. So over here let me just again undo. So over here, instead of call it, we will create first card. So dot card. Then we will have card header with background color BG, let's say warning. And in card header, we will have the title something like, let's say H5 project employee list. Then after card header, we need card body. Now in card body, we will have the table. So, and before that, let me just move this, copy this and put it over here also. Now this table will go inside our card body and our form will go inside other column, card body. And here will be add new employee. We will say add new project employee. Fine. Now we can get rid of the UI. Now let's save. Now you can see what we just added a card. So now UI is looking proper. Correct. Now, so now in the single component, we are going to complete whole thing. Now talking about the object first. So let me show you the object first. Create project employee. So this is the object. Now this object, if you see, we have EMP project ID. This is primary key. Then we have project ID. This is also foreign key. This is employee ID. This is also foreign key. So we need the project drop down and the employee drop down. Assign date. What date we are assigning the employee to this project. Role, we can have a text box and is active. Checkbox. Fine. So you can see we have UI like this. Just the checkbox is remaining. So we will add that. Now on the page load, we need to get the employee. So again, first what I will do, I will complete the get API call, all the get API call function in the service. I will complete that. Then we will do the remaining thing. So in the master service, first API call we are going to need is the get employee. So get project employee. Let's get the URL of that. So URL will be get all project employee. Execute. So this is the method which will go over here. Then just like that, save also. Correct. So I will just copy paste this to like this. We just need to change the method name also. Create project employee. This method name will go over here. Just like that, update also. Fine. Now here, instead of employee, what we will be passing is I project employee. I have already created the interface, so that I'm using. So if you see over here, I have created this interface. So this is the only thing which I have done previously. Now, where it is, just like that, over here also we need to add this. Over also here we need to add this. Now here it will be project employee ID, primary key we need to pass, correct? So now our API call functions are done. Okay, now we can go back to the our component work. Now in the project employee component, we will go with the to hold the array, we will create signal, and form we will again go with the normal template form. Fine. So now first is like on ng on init, we need to call it. So implement on init. So ng on init we need to add. Now first thing we will complete the gate operation. So let's say what it will be, project employee list colon. The data type will be I project employee. It will be array. So initialize with empty. Sorry, we decided we will go with empty. So equal to signal. Data type will be this, like this. Then a round bracket, and we will initialize empty array like this. So we have created signal of the, and in this signal we are going to store a array of this type, correct? Now we need to create a function, get all data. What we need to call? Okay, master service object also we need to create. So master service is equal to inject master service. Fine. So now here this dot master service dot get all project emp. This is the API call which we have to make. Dot subscribe result colon. What data type we are going to get? Array of this only. So we have to copy this and paste it over here. Then in this signal, we have to store the data. So this dot signal dot set method and result, whatever the data we get, that we will store it over here. Now this function we need to call on the engine. So on the page load, this function will get called. Now we are going to get the data stored into this. So let's use this to bind it. So now over here at the rate for loop. So just to be aware of the old ng-for and this also, you can just refer any old project because this is concerned with the Angular 18. So I'm not using ng-for and ng, but if you don't know the previous things, it is mandatory that you should have the knowledge of both. Okay, so just have a knowledge of ng-for and ng-if also. $index +1, then we need td curly bracket item dot. Again, here I forgot to join that, but I will change it. You can see that in the live version, and in the API response also, you will get project name and the employee leading name. Everything you will get it. Fine. So here, what we are going to show. Let me just quickly do the join also. Or let me complete it first. Assign date. whatever the data we are currently getting, that we will display. Employee ID, we will get project ID. What else we have? And role. Fine. So what we said, assign date. Okay. So first project ID, then employee ID, then assign date, and the role is active. We won't show. And the action. So in TD, we will have action button, just like the remaining pages, like edit and the delete button. So let's copy and let's paste it over here. We will remove the functions for now. Let's just save. Let's check if we won't be getting the data because in the database, we don't have any data. Let me just reload so that I can show the API call. So here you can see we are not getting any data because it's empty. Now, so we have to create an object of this also. Now I have created interface, but we are going to use we are going to use, or as the interface is created, we will just start with the reactive form. So let's create the reactive form. Now form colon form group. Sorry, we need to import reactive form module. Whenever you are appearing for the machine test now, always try to go for the reactive form module because everyone is going to go with, what do we say? Let me just write form group. Everyone is going to use template form because it's easy to implement, but just to showcase your skill, always go for the reactive form. Okay, fine. So we have initialized that form. Now we need the method also to initialize this. So initialize form. This dot form is equal to new form group curly bracket. So now whatever we have followed in the previous component, just like that, things will be there. Just the control name will be something different. So let's get the control name. Create project employee. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. So what I will do, I will just remove this. And after this, I will replace that with colon new form control. Try to learn basic copy paste skill. How by using copy paste you can reduce your work and your development speed will increase, right? So try to do that. Colon got missed. Is active by default with go with false. Role will initialize with empty. Assign date, let's keep it empty only. Employee ID again 0. Fine. So this is how we have initialized our form. Let me just format it also. Now this function we need to call on the constructor. So on the page load, our form won't be undefined. Otherwise it will throw the error. Fine. Again, we in case of edit, we have to modify this function. Okay. Now this form we need to bind to our form also. So let's open this side by side. So we have this form over here. So over here, we need to bind form group and we need to provide our form name. Then whatever the types we have. So form control name is equal to double quotes. So we have to search with this. Again, these are very shortcut skill. You should, if you are new and in the learning phase, you should not do like this. Always write it. But if you already have a confidence in writing, so just to speed up the process, you can do this. Now over here, we are going to need a drop down because project drop down we need to show. So select, let's copy, let's paste, select will be there. Now on the page load, we need to call two API, project API, project get all project and the get all employee also. Let's copy this. Let's paste it. Let's just bind the control first. So employee project ID, we don't have to bind. Project ID will go over here. Then EMP ID will go over here. Then we have assigned date. It will go over here. Then we have role. Again, for role, you can create a static dropdown also. Fine. And after the role, we need one more to get the true false value. And let's make it 4, 4. And this will be checkbox. Fine. Let's just save and check if we have any error or not. I think somewhere we missed the, okay, we have less space now. So let's go with 6, 6 only. Form control we need to remove from the text box. Let's just save and check. Yeah, now it is 4. So now over here, we need to showcase the project dropdown and the employee dropdown. So for that, again, you can create a sync pipe because we are not going to use array in the dot tier. So always we can go with the observable. So just like we have created, right? So project list dollar. Whenever we create observable, try to add a dollar at the end. So that is the normal, what do we say, programming practice we have. What type of data we are going to store. So I project array new observable I project of array empty. Fine. No, like this. Now in the constructor, this dot project list is equal to this dot master service dot get all projects. That's it. Just like that, we need the employee observable also. So this will be emp list employee class we had. Now just like this, I will copy. This will be emp list and it will be get all emp. Fine. So we have created our two array, two observable, one for the project and one for the employee. Right. Now we need to bind this also. So let's copy. So over here at the rate for we are going to use a sync pipe. So obviously we need to add it over here. A sync pipe. Then we can use the sync pipe. Now inside this, we need option. Value will be property binding. Item dot. Here we need to bind project ID, and while displaying, we will display the project name. So item dot project name. And we need the static option also, that too with value empty. Select, sorry, value will be empty. And over here, we will display select. Let's copy this, paste it over here, and here we will be binding our employee list dollar. Fine. Over here, we will bind employee ID, and over here, we will display employee name. So this is the power of strongly typing everything. So you don't make the spelling mistake. Let's just save and check if we are able to get the drop down correctly. See, project is coming and employee is also coming. I didn't create it, so I didn't have the time to create projects multiple. So see, only whatever we have created, that only coming. Okay, so by that time you will see so many people will add the project, so you will have the long list over here. Now on click of submit, we need to make the API call. So in master service, we already have created this API call function. So now over here, let's make it a button. Click on save. Now let's create this. Now I will copy paste that API call function from other component. So that is from project form. This is I'm doing because I have already explained properly in the first time. So that's why I'm skipping that part. Now here form is there. and over here, save project EMP, form value, and form only we need to reset. Project EMP employee added to the project, whatever message you need to display. Fine. Let's save and check if we are able to create the record. Save. Let's just open the terminal. And after save, we need to call the API also, no? So once it is done, this dot, what is that name? Get all data. So that we will be able to see the projects in the table. Let's try now. So let's say project is this, and we currently have only one employee. Added date, let's say is going to work from today. Developer, let's say active. On click of submit. Yes, see, we have the API call after after save API call. We should have a get API call. Get API call got 500. I think URL might be mismatch. Employee management get only. Why it is saying 400? Let's check it. Get all project employee. Internal server error. I am facing. This is API issue. So I will check this why it is giving the API issue. Let me check the database if we have anything wrong data. So we are going to store the data in ERP project employees. Correct data is there, project ID, MP ID. Why we are getting the error? Okay. Anyway, I will check the API, but the process will be same. Here you will get, it won't be 500. You will get the data. Now the remaining part is the dashboard. So now let's complete the dashboard also quickly. Let's get the UI of the dashboard. I have created the API. I just need to publish it. Let's quickly do that. Let me just refresh it. I think I have deployed it. Let me just check one more time. Sorry, I didn't deploy it. Let me just quickly deploy the API also. I will pause my screen for now. I have deployed the API. I have got the dashboard API also. So you can see in dashboard API, we are getting total employee, total project. And this again, code is breaking. I will check it. So in this property, you will get the list of recent employee. And over here, you will get the list of recent projects. Okay. Now this API we need to bind, and whatever the data we get, that we will display it over here. So see, in latest project, we need to show the multiple project, recently hired employee also, recently joined employee array. And these are the just the what do we say, constant. This only we don't have it. Active employees are nothing but the employees. I will again try to add the flag like this is active or not. Again, likewise, you will get the data. Fine. So now over here, you just need to make the API call. So let's quickly close all. And our gate API is also working this. So see, now data is coming. Again, I will do the join. So in project and in project employee, you will get the project name and the employee name. Instead of ID, you need to display that. Fine. Now, the last part, in master service, we need one more API call that will be get and get dashboard data. Let's get the URL. So our URL will be get dashboard. So this we need to put it over here. And what type of data we are getting. So just to save the time, I'm not creating class or interface, but you should create it. Here I'm specifying any. Just to limit the video length, I'm doing this, but you should create class and interface. Fine. Now this API call we need to make in the dashboard component. So over here, what we will do, let's say dashboard data colon any. Simply, let's create master service. Inject master service. On the page load, we are going to call that API. So implement on init, ng on init. So this dot master service dot get dashboard data. Fine. Dot subscribe result colon any. So we didn't create class and interface. So everywhere we have to go with the any only now. Fine. Now this we need to bind it over here. It's just a data print. So instead of 0 dot, what data we are going to get? So this is total employees. So always copy paste over here, total project. Let's copy. Fine. Let's just save and check if we are able to showcase the proper data, whatever we get from the API. See, let's try to create one employee. Why employee data is not coming? Let's check API response. Okay, I forgot I had a date and that date might not be present in the database. So that's why it might be breaking. Let me just add the date. And now if we refresh again, now we will get the data. See, okay. Let's add one more test. Again, someone removed. Why people are doing like this? I think I need to add the foreign key also because I didn't add the foreign key, so everyone is able to remove it. Let's add a project. We just need to check like if data is coming properly. Add new project. Okay, client name, let's say Satyam Group. Start date today, data one. Fine, let's click on save, project created. Now if I go on to dashboard, so you can see count got increased. Just like that, all the data you will get it, you just need to display it. That is our dashboard. Fine. So this is how we have completed in all the component. We have tried the different CRUD strategies. So like over here, we have done like this in project. We have new component. We forgot to add the class button over here. And over here, we have the side panel. So in a single project, I have tried to try to cover all the possible scenarios. Again, this is just a prototype. Again, actual project will have so many APIs and so many different scenarios. But if you are a fresher or even if you have a 1 to 2 years of experience and you complete this also now, then you will have a better confidence. Fine. So that's it. If you are new and haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Please do add a comment and like so that it will help my channel to grow. So that's it, guys. Thank you all.